Holy cow, everybody. Look at that. We are in the Centricam today. Not the dump truck cam, the Centricam. Look at that beautiful sky. Anyways, I'm in the car with the window shut because there's a lot of wind heading out there. So I'm going to turn this view off and then I'll start the show. Hello, everybody. It's Bubba Rob. How's it going? Good, I hope, right? Awesome. I'm in the car today. I'm in the Sentra. So the beginning was the Centricam. Anyways, my topic of today is actually pain. And I did a video, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, about walking through pain. Or a week ago. Something like that. Anyways, I don't know if this is kind of a continuation or whatnot, but just something I wanted to talk about because I was a little bit reflective about it, because I'll be damned if I didn't have another gout attack yesterday and the day before. And I'm just starting to make some changes with my diet and stuff, because I got to make some changes again. Anyway, so I ended up with this blasted gout attack. Not just in one foot, but in both. I'll be son of a bee if that didn't hurt like hell. And, it's funny because everything we do in life, especially our health, is all connected. So I was sitting having my tea today so I could walk today. So I went and had my tea with my friend Jeff, and we were talking about it. And he goes, "Oh, Robbie, what do you think's causing the gout?" I said, to be honest with you, I think it's multiple things. He says, "Do you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I know I've been making some changes with my diet, but I think I said, the big thing is, it really seems to be relevant, or I don't know, it's not prevalent, but relevant to the amount of stress I'm actually under in my life." And I really believe, with a lot of the research I've done, is that there's a lot of things that are connected that we didn't used to think or believe, which are true, especially stress. Not to get in too much detail what was going on, but I try and live my life as stoic as possible, let things go as much as I can, but not every day you can do it as good as others. Right? Isn't that what we strive for? But anyways, yeah, I really believe it's got a lot to do with our stress levels, how it affects the insulin in our body and our hormones and all those things, and affects your uric acid, and it just kind of is what it is. Maybe sometimes, because I do eat fairly clean. I don't know. I just don't know. But anyways, what am I trying to say here? Well, anyways, we're talking about it. Talking about the stuff that was going on. And, I was supposed to go on a trip yesterday with my son. And it was very disappointing. I didn't make it over to Vancouver, and I was supposed to visit a friend of mine. And, that didn't happen. And, I apologized. Shit happens, right? But I was, very sad that I didn't get to go do what I want to do with my son. And the big part of the trip was, there is a guitar shop I've been trying to get to over there for years. Again, I didn't get to go there. Damn, that was depressing. And my son wants to go. There's a big giant Costco there that I guess specializes in office equipment that we don't have here. So I was really looking forward to that. And we actually planned out different unique places to go have food. So that was the other part of our trip. So anyway, so of course we were, weren't really happy about it, and I was kind of depressed. And you know, that's the other thing: connection, pain. I find when I'm under a lot of pain, especially with that stuff, I can get quite depressed, and it's not a good feeling, especially when you got to take some meds and stuff like that to get over the pain. It's all connected. It all affects us, in a different way, and it's not good. So, anyways, so what did I do? Well, of course, I stayed home. And I go to my son, I said, "Oh, what are you going to do?" He says, "I don't know." He says, "You don't look like in very good shape to be doing anything." I said, "I know, that's not a good thing." So I believe it was him who had the suggestion. Well, maybe what we need to do is be a tourist in our own town today. Oh, you think so? He said, yeah. I said, okay. If we were in a tourist here, where would we like to go eat? Yeah, so we went to some local places here. It was awfully good food. Mind you, we've been to them before, so I wouldn't say it was special, but it wasn't like we didn't know what was going to be there. So that was a little, kind of the same old, but different, And we tried to make the best of it. But anyways, and oh yeah, we went and bought a guitar pedal. And we came home with that guitar pedal, and my son was playing guitar. He goes, You want to try the pedal out, Dad?" I said, "No, it's okay." He goes, "Why not? You ordered it." I said, it actually brings me more joy listening to you play that thing. It was the SL, is it the Esquire SL2 by Boss, the Slicer? Very unique stuff and interesting sounds. But anyways, so I said, no, it just brings me more joy listening to you on your musical journey. And I said, any pedal I can buy or anything that promotes you to be more curious and play more, I said, I have no problems with doing it. That's the way it is. But anyways, the connected part. I know I'm rambling. But I guess the moral of the story today is it was hard feeling that kind of pain, and I felt I was disappointing other people that I wasn't able to go and do certain things, so it kind of bothered me. But then I thought, you know what, I got to take care of myself, and this is a sign, and it's connected. It's connected. It could be dietary issues, it's weight issues, it's health issues, it's stress issues. A lot of things are going on for my body to react that way. So really, the blessing is I was forced to stay home. I tried to make the best out of it I could. When I was in extreme pain, I tried to use meditation to help, which it did. And I just tried to enjoy the moment for what it was yesterday. Actually, it turned out to be a pretty good day, a pretty enjoyable day. And, if I would have went to Vancouver because I didn't want to disappoint people, I guarantee you one thing, I wouldn't have been very happy. That would have been hard on me. So I guess the moral of the story is when we go through pain, we need to make adjustments to go through it the best we can and try and have the best day that we can and not worry about necessarily disappointing people, because we got to take care of ourselves. Because, if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And people will either understand it or they won't. I'm finding that because of social media like YouTube, like I'm using to try and prove a point, people shut themselves off quite a bit. They're not as connective. They don't accept phone calls. They may or may not respond to a text. A lot of humanity has actually left us. That's the other lesson I learned yesterday. It's amazing. It's really amazing how much society has changed. I really hope it bounces back, because everything is true. Everything is connected. And the more distant we become, the more we stay shut in, watching our TV instead of going out to movie theaters or the odd dinner out and using DoorDash all the time, the less connection we have to the rest of society. And that's not good. Okay? So anyways, I know I was rambling on, but the moral of the story is you got to take care of yourself out there. Take care of your health. Take care of your mental health. And I hope everybody has a great day. And remember, the most important thing in this life, to be a good person, good stoic, or whatever you are, is to be kind and be kind to yourself. Right? People don't understand that. It's not your problem. That's their problem. Anyways, I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.